Greetings, dear Astro friends. Today, on the 22nd of October 2024, you probably see it from um, the lighting here in this video that it's a really nice, bright, sunny day today after a huge deluge here on the west coast called atmospheric river nowadays. It used to be the Pineapple Express of autumn. Yes, the inundation and the huge influx of water has ceased now. Of course, there has been damage, yes, but I'm not doing the meteorological weather report, I'm doing the astrological one. And sometimes there's a reflection between the two. So what's with the water element? Yes, the sun is today entering Scorpio, going across the tipping point from Libra to Scorpio, where choices lead to change, and where we need to dive in for transformation and go deeper, go into what's usually hidden and covered, the undercurrents of life, deeper intimacy with ourselves, with life, with others, magic, transformation, and also what can be scary, mysterious, and of course the unknown that we are diving into now as the days are getting shorter and the nights, the darkness is creeping in. So what's with the water element? Yes, Scorpio is a water sign. Lots of you who are not so into the astrology quite yet might think Scorpio is like fire or so. No, Scorpio is a water sign. It relates to deep waters, deep undercurrents, also lakes, contained water, ponds, anything that is deep and you can't see to the ground and you have an attraction to actually go in, maybe dive in, but it can be also scary. And that's very symbolic, of course. It's psychological, it's subconscious energy. And in terms of the water signs, we have today, actually, today the 22nd, is a grand water trine of Saturn retrograde in Pisces, Mercury already in Scorpio, leading the way into Scorpio, as today the sun follows. By the way, that will be at 3:15 p.m. for the sun, p.m. Pacific Daylight Savings Time, when the sun enters Scorpio. This year a little bit earlier because of the leap year. Usually it's the 23rd. But that grand water trine, right, with Saturn retro in Pisces, Mercury in Scorpio already, and the moon in Cancer. So that can bring us actually together. I noticed that already, at least in the online format, with people to connect really from the heart, connect and have compassion with one another and care about one another, and also talk about what's usually doesn't come to the surface, right? So Saturn leads here. Of course, Saturn's the longest in its sign, currently Pisces, until February 2026. And Saturn will go out of retro into a direct motion again on November 15th, which will be also the next full moon, another superpower super moon, and this time with Uranus. So not getting ahead of it too much in terms of Saturn. Saturn is now stationary, right? As it changes direction mid-November. It is stationary all of November, and you could already feel that. So there's a focus on the Saturn theme. Saturn in Pisces shows us about the challenges of letting go, but also the teachings in that. When we lose, when it seems like we lose in life, or we lose friends, we lose our health, we lose home, we lose people, as I said, right? Or we feel like we're losing. It's a sense of loss, right? We lose the summer, right? So there can be so many experiences of loss, and that often, is can feel like a meltdown, right? That's also Pisces, but at the same time, it's a release, right? Loss is also release, is a letting go. Can be turned, can we transform the experience of loss with intentional letting go, with teachings, with spiritual teachings, with life teachings, Saturn in Pisces, right? Around the art of letting go and the art also of staying connected with what matters most, staying soul connected, staying spirit connected, and yeah, so lots of lessons with Saturn going into stationary mode and now expressed via the moon in Cancer. So also being gentle with ourselves, being caring with the world, and compassionate. And with Mercury in Scorpio, where our mind goes into these deeper experiences, yeah, into what we're usually hiding or what is hidden, also the magic, the mystery, the beauty behind the surface, underneath the surface, and behind the facade. So that grand water trine has taken quite a bit of space here already. That is acute, and you might have felt it building up. What else is going on this week? Let's look at Mars, right? So on the 24th, in 2 days, Mars, now at the end of Cancer, also watery, will soon go into Leo on November 3rd. But Mars in at the end of Cancer will make a sextile with Uranus, retro, also retro, Uranus retro, end of Taurus. And that will be a sextile, is a friendly connection, two signs apart, right? Earth, Taurus in this case, and Cancer. And this is the first of three. They will go into sextile again on January 27th and on April 5th. Why? Because Mars will go retrograde. So that's going to happen from December 6th on until February 23rd. So that's why Mars will go back into Cancer, back into that sextile, and then in forward motion once more build that sextile with Uranus. What is that all about? So Mars in Cancer has been going on already for quite a while here, since September. When was it exact? So it was, oh, wait a minute. Okay, I'm losing track in terms of the Mars entering Cancer for records. Early September, 5th, 6th, 7th, something like that. I can't quite give you the date, but you get the idea. So Mars in Cancer for a super long time, because now it goes fully through, goes into Leo, goes back into Cancer, and then forward again and fully through Cancer, and then Leo. And so what's with Mars, Uranus? So they both, that's more energetic, but at the same time in Cancer and in Taurus, neither one of them is really happy, right? Mars is exalted, is at its best in Capricorn. And so it's in fall in Cancer traditionally. Uranus is also opposite the Sun, that it's in exaltation, so it's at its best in Scorpio, but it's now these years in Taurus. So neither one of them is happy, but they're buddying up. That's good. So Mars in Cancer can bring the energy actually quite into the emotional realm, and things are not so consistent. You're not so good at planning and at controlling situations. We need to do lots of self-care, right? And we need to also go with the rhythms of life. And actually, I will go today also celebrating this and for other reasons. Back to 5 rhythms, right? Dancing with the rhythms of life, and also at the same time with Uranus in Taurus, becoming free from habits where things are quite stagnant, and we need to shake things up We need to shift the energy and embody freedom, right? So really come to a place of freedom while we're also flowing with the cycles of life. And that might be challenging, like really practically saying, because with Mars in Cancer, our energy is not consistent, and the energy needs to go a lot into care. And with Uranus in Taurus, our financial situation, right? Taurus rules the economy and money as well, might also be, and really has been for lots of us in the last years, pretty erratic, right? Since Uranus entered Taurus, that's been pretty much reflecting the disruption in the economy, right? So, how do we navigate that? So, for now, it's really good time to actually maybe gain energy and new momentum through, but being in the flow of life and really enjoying regardless of what it might look like. And so this is like an intervention, Uranus, right? Uranus like, hey, what can you do to enhance the joy factor, right? Uranus in Taurus. And so then on October 26th, 27th, we have another significant alignment again involving Mercury in Scorpio. It's quite the player this week at the end of Scorpio, towards the end of Scorpio for Mercury, sorry. So Mercury in Scorpio will go into quincunx, that's 5 signs apart. It's also called inconjunct here in North America, which I find weird and inconsistent because what does that mean? Conjunct means conjunct, inconjunct means not conjunct, I don't know. But in any case, it's 5 signs apart, and I like the term, the Latin, and where I learned astrology in Europe, quincunx. And so 5 signs apart alignment with both Chiron in Aries and then with Jupiter in Gemini. So that will happen on the weekend, 26th, 27th, literally overnight there. And so Mercury will be then on the apex, on the top of this double quincunx. That's called a yod, Y-O-D. Yod is a rare configuration. It comes often with the moon, but not so much with planets, as in this case. And it is called a finger of God, a celestial pointer. It's looks like a dowsing rod also. I wish I could show you one here. Do we have a yod? We don't have a yod in the next new moon chart. But you get the idea, right? There's two planets on the bottom and one on the top. I like with my fingers have to simulate that. So on the top is Mercury, one on the bottom is Chiron in Aries, one on the bottom is Jupiter in Gemini. And both of them are, Chiron is retro, Jupiter freshly direct. So what's going on with that? There's definitely a connection also, since Jupiter in Gemini, Gemini rules Mercury, is ruled by Mercury. So that's that connection. So it has a lot to do with the mind, also with exploration, with research, with new findings, right? And also with Mercury in Scorpio, that's also doing sort of a background check, right? And looking at the deeper side of things, at the hidden, there could be lots of revelations actually coming through that. And they may have to do, or also paradigm shift, right? They may have to do also with Aries, Chiron in Aries, and with wars literally, and with the ongoing battlegrounds in the world, but also in the medical world in terms of Chiron, right? And shifts around that, and more deeper insights about it all. Mercury in Gemini, now freshly direct, also shows us where we are so divided, right? Where this whole binary world has become like almost digitalized, like in the binary digital technological world. So we have become so polarized, right? How can we understand that better, how can we outgrow it, and for that matter also overcome wars and prevent wars. And then with Chiron in Aries, the question is always, where do and how do wars even start, and in our own world, right? In our own world, not to contribute to that energy, and really looking at our shadow in that regard, right? So how am I creating a subtle micro warfare here, so to say, right? Even within ourselves, right? Being at war with ourselves, which are the different sides that are battling with each other. So a lot of that can be explored. A yacht is always like a process, right? It has almost like a Virgo Scorpio undertone as well. So there's a certain element of analysis and understanding, but also an ongoing process. And so the last aspect this week is Mars, then at the very end of Cancer. It's actually double. There will be two alignments on October 28th. And one of them will be Mars at the very end of Cancer, last week of that for this round, right, before it goes into Leo and then retro. Mars will go into water trine, into a water trine with Neptune retro in Pisces. So that's a beautiful alignment, right? So that is a wonderful energy for artists, especially, right? So to create something that it's also Mars being at the creativity point, end of Cancer. It's kind of a playful energy. And and Neptune, end of Pisces. It's very much an inspiration. This will be wonderful for music, for dance, and a great outlet for that energy. And then on the same day, though, on October the 28th, Venus in Sagittarius, Venus now freshly in Sag, will square Saturn retro in Pisces. That will be the first aspect of Venus in Sag. So the Venus square Saturn it can be definitely a challenge for relationships, for anything that we have put our hopes and aspirations sort of into. That's very much Sagittarius. And we have to also do a reality check and see, is this really feasible? Does this flow? Does this roll? And that can also relate to, literally, to relationships. And Venus in Sag is very optimistic and very upbeat and so on. So hopefully not a downer, just a regulation, right? With Saturn, a regulation around connection, right? So Saturn in Pisces actually helps us protect our energy field. So if you had a sort of, being very idealistic, right? That's also what Venus in Sag can be. Saturn is a reality check and can help us also to see, literally looking at my glasses here, to see things more clearly, more on an energetic realm. Is this really a good match, right? So, and then from then on, it's a bit smoother sailing for Venus, but you might already feel the buildup of that energy. Then what's going on this week as the Sun enters Scorpio, literally this afternoon? That's the first decade of Scorpio, which has a Cancer undertone. So double Cancer, because the moon is also in Cancer today. And until I go to the moon in a sec. But that goes until November 2nd. So just across the new moon to November 1st, November 2nd. So this year we'll have on November 1st the Scorpio new moon at 9.5 degrees of Scorpio, right? So more about that next week. And that will be also in alignment with Saturn, by the way. Very watery energy. And water being the biggest element, the strongest element of that new moon. And then in the meantime, so it's the first decade, double watery, and in this case, Cancer undertone. The first decade of each water sign has a Cancer undertone. And so it's a lot of emotional deep dive. Get ready for that, from double air, from the end of Libra with Gemini undertone, very, theoretical, a lot about choices. Of course, also the elections have just happened in BC, and the U.S. elections being on the horizon. It's the countdown, final countdown, right? So a lot of theory, lots of debates, lots of discussions, lots of thoughts. Now we're going into the emotional realm of it all. How does it feel? And how do emotions also, how can they, when we really go deeper and process things can change, right? We're not so much in the head. We need to dive into also compassion, self-compassion, care, and all that, and see the magic of that. And it can also have to do with a family, right? Families, children, Cancer energy, right? So our care is really affecting us and them, and to treat one another with care and also with, a more intimacy rather than the superficiality, right? And so, what's with the moon this week? The moon is in Cancer today, since yesterday afternoon already, the 21st, Monday, and now the 22nd, all day in Cancer, and until Wednesday 23rd at 10:24 p.m. Quite a long time, as it turns out. And so these are days now, as I said, it's a lot about your feelings, right? How do you feel about the change of seasons also? That's for real now. And maybe a good time together with the Mercury in Scorpio for journaling, for example, for talking with friends where you can be, yourself and process things. And a lot of self-care, lots of also, making our homes a sweeter place and doing home care, self-care, family care, children care, pet care, all of that, very Cancerian. And then the moon goes into Leo from Wednesday, tomorrow evening, on 10:24 p.m. Pacific, all day Thursday, and that will be then literally the half moon, because the sun is in Scorpio, freshly in Scorpio, the moon freshly in Leo. That's quite a charge, so going into that second. Then all day Friday also in Leo until Saturday morning she goes into Virgo. So that friction, that half moon energy of the moon in Leo, the sun in Scorpio, can be quite passionate, quite dramatic, quite intense, right? So don't let your wills and your egos clash here. Celebrate. This is a wonderful time for Halloween energy, actually for creativity, for spooky energy, for at the same time very creative energy, and do something with that. Give it a good outlet, right? And in accord with that, I invite you to the horoscopes and tarot cards yearly Halloween sessions this year on Friday the 25th, all day. I'm booking at this point. There's still spots available, so it's by a donation with sliding scale, and and lots of fun. And please dress up. Dressing up is a must. We can do it also online, of course. And you can see more details about that in the link below here in the show notes, as I say. And so that's on Friday. I look forward to that. It's a yearly fun thing, and it's also, doing astrology and having a bit of fun, having some creative energy with that as we're dressing up and we're playful. At the same time, we're also diving into things and we invoking some trickster energy with that as well, in a good way. All right, sometimes we need that. And Saturday, the moon will be in Virgo, Saturday, Sunday, both days. So, and until Monday evening, 9:30 p.m. So until the end, literally, of this Astro week, moon in Virgo, and a waning moon because we're approaching the new moon on the 1st of November. So this Virgo and a Scorpio in combination is quite an alchemical, quite a crafty energy as well, but it's more grounded than the Leo energy, right? So with Leo, you want to be out and dance and do stuff and be seen. With Virgo, it's more about, the looking at the mysteries of life and yeah, understanding more about those, what's behind the surface, and also like studying, apprenticing magic, mystery, astrology, of course, as well. It's about, analyzing a situation, seeing the threads, looking at undercurrents that are not, that usually don't meet the eye. So that's a beautiful energy, and I will interestingly be at two birthday parties. One is more, not a birthday per se, but a good occasion to celebrate. On Saturday and Sunday, one is by a Virgo, the other one is literally by a Scorpio friend. So this is beautifully aligned, and alignment is what Virgo likes. So I hope your week is aligned, and when things are challenging, you can understand the dynamics from a cosmic perspective, and yes, go through stuff, but also see what are other expressions, higher vibrational expressions of this, and see if you can try on those. I wish you a beautiful week, and yeah, enjoy the sunshine if you're here on the West Coast, and maybe I see you in real life or you see me again here on the next video. Have a beautiful one. Bye.